Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my weekly webinar. I'm Tim Maitland, CRO at MarketScale, and I'm just so glad to have everybody here. This is a webinar series that we're going to run every week, the same exact time, just like church service. And it's a place for community, right? It's a place for us to learn from one another. It's a place for us to have fun with one another. And it's a place for us to get questions answered. You'll notice the chat function is turned on because we want to be able to answer questions. We want to be able to celebrate one another. If you want to praise something, if you want to share a story of what you've done similar to what we're talking about, share it in the chat. This is a community and it's growing. So as we build this movement together, and as you're a part of this movement, invite your friends, invite your family. We can't wait to see you in here every single week. But today we're really going to talk about community building, right? What exactly does it mean? Why is it important? Why does every company need to focus on building a community? So that's going to be the talking point, and we're going to leave this community presentation today really having a clear understanding on what a community is and how to do it. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. So if you think about the current state of B2B, right, let's break it down. As a coach would say, let's break it down from a fundamental standpoint. But when you look at the current state of B2B and traditional marketing, we have to realize that a lot of the more normal kind of common ways that B2B communicates in the day-to-day, it just doesn't work, right? It's outdated. Your buyers have changed. When you think about advertising, it has gotten way too expensive. It's gotten way too commoditized. And heck, we can't even trust half the time where our advertising data is going with these big companies. And that's a big reason why you see all of these companies like Google and Facebook that rely on advertising. It's why you see their ad revenue dropping. Companies just realize it's not effective and our customers don't want to be advertised to. In life, right, the golden rule is treat people how you want to be treated. Well, think about it. If the first thing we do in our own personal life, when we're watching a YouTube video with our friends or family, or we're reading an important article on ESPN and that ad pops up, we're looking for that small X, or we're looking for that button in the lower right that says skip ad. It's because we don't want to be persuaded as customers. We want to be educated. So because of those elements, traditional marketing through advertising really just isn't what it used to be. When you look at trade shows, they're fantastic, right? Because the idea of it is it's community, right? It's people from all around the world that share an interest that come together. However, for a company to really go to market that way, it's not scalable, right? It's not scalable to spend 50 grand here, 20 grand here, 100 grand here, have all these resources outside of the office, shipping these big products around the world. It's not a scalable way to engage your community. It's great to be there. It's just not scalable. So in today's world, it's really not the best way to go to market. When you think about your customers, well, your customers, their attention spans are shrinking, just like ours. Something that I like to ask our customers and that I have to then ask myself is, what do you tend to do? Do you tend to read more? Or do you tend to watch more? Right? As beings, we love to consume media, right? It's the core of how we learn. It's the core of how we are inspired. And with traditional marketing of case studies and white papers, they're too technical. They're too boring, right? We don't read as much anymore. So why should we try to engage our customers in that traditional way? You look at what's going on in the market. There's market uncertainty right now. You look at companies, these big tech companies that are letting go of folks. You look at companies that are worried about a recession, so they're pulling budgets back. And oftentimes the first thing that goes in that case is advertising budgets. Well, if you think about it, if you're using your marketing budget the correct way, it should be able to touch every single department within a company, right? The marketing budget should be really the foundation that helps every department succeed. Therefore, it's a way to save money and save time. It only works that way, though, if you have a community. So when you look at the best companies in the world today, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a Silicon Valley startup. You could be an industrial, B2B manufacturing company in Minden, Louisiana, or you could be a juggernaut like Verizon. But great brands, what they focus on doing is really building a community. Now, at this point, you might be saying, Tim, what is a community? You keep saying community. So Let's look at what a community is. Well, a community is really the audience that makes up your business, right? As a company, you have customers that you need to be able to continuously educate and serve. You have prospects that you need to sell and make sure they really understand your solution compared to the markets. You have manufacturing and sales channels reps, right? You have internal employees, potential new hires. You have your local community, the universities that you hire from. Communities extend into other areas, such as associations that you're a part of. And what a winning company realizes is that all these different members, right, this entire audience is really the community. And the best way to really fuel that community is one, give them content that can educate, inform, and inspire them. But two, realizing that the content needs to come from the community, right? I know myself, if I'm making a purchasing decision, it could be something as small as a TV or something as big as a home. I love to learn from the people who have used that product, right? I like to understand the neighborhood, the community that will be my neighbors, whatever it might be, right? I want to learn from the people. So B2B, we need to truly be able to have an environment where we give a platform to our community to be the ones that teach and inspire one another. Let's look at a company that we all know, and we probably all have a different opinion on them, but we all at least know them. And the company is Yeti. If you think about it, it's ridiculous, right? Yeti is a cooler manufacturer, right? They manufacture cups, right? They now have clothing. And the idea of Yeti, there really is nothing sexy about it. It's something that stores your beverages. That's technically it. But what happens? People will spend $500, $600, $700 on a Yeti cooler when there are competitors out there that sell a very similar product for literally one-fifth the price. So why is it that somebody will spend $500 on a Yeti cooler and they won't spend, $75 on the same product that another company offers? It's easy. It's because Yeti makes them feel a part of something bigger than they are. You've all seen your friend, maybe it's you, when you roll into that tailgate in the fall for your college football team and you bring that Yeti, what happens? Everybody gathers around the Yeti, right? The Yeti is the meeting place. When you go hunting or you go on a camping trip or fishing trip and you're bringing those meats and the food that's going to provide, for everybody that's going to be there for the several days, and you bring them in the Yeti, Yeti is the vehicle that's really making you the hero in your community. So therefore, Yeti isn't just a cooler, right? It is a community builder. It is a tool that allows you to become the hero wherever you are. It's the same reason why somebody will take a Yeti bumper sticker and they'll put it on their $100,000 Escalade, right? They're not wrecking the vehicle. They're just showing the local community they're driving around that they are a Yeti guy or they are a Yeti girl and what their interests are. This is an amazing video from Yeti. In my opinion, Yeti could probably never spend $100,000 on another big video production ever again. And it's because of Richard E. here in his video. So let's go ahead and play it. But what's essentially happening is Richard, he's a good old boy from Hitchcock, Texas. He clearly had a huge day on the lake because his boat caught on fire, sunk and burned. It burned and sunk to the bottom. So when the firefighters came out and they just got everything and they pulled the boat out, sure enough, there's the Yeti. And as you saw in the video, the Yeti is burnt to crisp. It looks like a total disaster, right? It looks like it was exactly what it was, in a fire. But what happens? I'll play it again. You'll see that the beer is still cold, right? The ice is still frozen. There can be a literal fire consuming this cooler. However, the beverages, the party lives on. And the fact that this is a community member, somebody literally creating this content after a very bad day and sharing it on social media, it just shows the power of the Yeti community. And it shows everything about the product durability. They could have technical white papers and case studies that teach about it, but that's not nearly as powerful as Richard making this video and sharing his insights. So if you think about it, the best way for B2B to do it is do what Yeti does, right? Let the community be the ones who speak. It's employees making videos from trade shows. It's sales team members doing product demonstrations. It's customers doing testimonials. We have a couple examples here that I'm going to share, just like the Yeti one, of B2B industrial companies doing exactly that. Right, here's Micro Drones. They're an international drone manufacturer. They're located literally all over the world. And in this little soundbite, they're doing a Meet the Team video. Aaron Beach, he's one of the community members within their surveying and mapping network. He'll do these amazing surveying projects, as wild as the Ozarks. And here he is sharing who he is, sharing why he's passionate about survey and mapping. And what Microdrones knows is, by unlocking Aaron, they allow him to really be able to engage and fuel the community. Let's pull up another example of a $1 billion. This is And what they'll do is they'll spend the time and energy to go to a trade show, like we talked about a minute ago, but they'll make these fun recap videos. Or while they're at the show, gentlemen like Jason will become videographers. Well, they'll capture the sights and sounds of the show. They'll get testimonials from clients swinging by their booth. And what they've done is they've enabled the community to become content creators, right? Jason has an iPhone. Jason has a knowledge for the company. The community that they sell into is there. What better way to unlock the voices than make it easy for Jason to become a content creator with this content piece? Another one that I'll show is, companies having fun. B2B has become so stale in today's world, and it doesn't need to be. This is a company, Red Lion. They are very, very technical. They have tons of engineers. But what do? Around the holidays, they enable their team members to have fun by creating content that celebrates the holidays, that wishes their community, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And what they'll do is, it's not just the marketer making an infographic, it's the people. It's the president who pours endless of hours into the company. It's the marketing manager here who has specific insights to her customers. It's HR. It's the vice president of operations, right? It's the whole community lending their voice and lending their energy to really bring, honestly, just good vibes to their community and to share their insights. And today, that is what marketing looks like. Now, as a marketer, that should honestly be music to your ears, because we've all been there as marketers, right? We've had those times where it's our job to write that blog. It's our job to write that case study. It's our job to find a way to get that interview done. It's our job to find a way to locate that video crew to go on site. When you build a community, what happens is you get to take a step back and you get to be the symphony conductor. And you get to say, hey, sales team, I need a little bit of music. Hey, executives, I need better communication internally, make a video. Hey, customers, share your favorite solution that we offer. Hey, associations, can you answer some thought leadership on this that we can share with our customers? And as you empower the community to do that, you don't just add bandwidth and time and save costs, but you truly become more of a publisher, because you're this little aggregate of all the community's voices being able to teach and inspire. Now, you might not know how to do this. Well, that's why technology is here, right? That's why tools like MarketScale Studio exists. It's helping you really make this happen at scale. So when you think about your communication, you think about unlocking the community's voices, there's a couple items to really focus on. One, it needs to be valuable for the consumer, right? Valuable doesn't mean technical, right? It doesn't mean it has to be perfectly polished. So the same reason why TikTok and Instagram and YouTube are some of the biggest companies in the world. It's authentic, right? If I need to fix something at my home, like a sprinkler system's broken, I go onto YouTube. I search my sprinkler system. I see a guy just like me teaching me, right? That is valuable for me. Doesn't have to be, technical and big production. Just needs to be valuable and authentic. Human and personal, right? The people of your company, that's who makes up your business, right? It's not the polished marketing assets. It's the guy whose, hands are calloused because he's made 100 widgets today. It's the customer who uses your solution, their facility, to enhance a better working experience, right? It's the human and personal element that you want to capture. And then it's regular and easily consumable, right? Compounding is the strongest force that exists in the world, right? It's the idea of everything. If you compound something, you become an expert. Well, tools like Studio are going to make it easy for you to have a regular, consistent compounding effort of these different community members making content. And then it's going to naturally be easily consumable because it's snippets, right? It's 30 seconds here, it's 1 minute there. And that's what it's all about today. So when you really kind of want to focus on, this media, there are other channels too, right? Where you can use soundbite content like those examples I showed. That's phenomenal. But there's also other ways to elevate, and there's other ways to really engage your community. And that's with episodic content. We hear episodic content a lot, or if we don't hear it, we at least consume it, right? What were we all probably guilty of over the holidays last week? Well, we probably sat on the couch, we turned on Netflix, we turned on HBO or Hulu, whatever we prefer to watch, and we streamed episodic content. Well, as a business, guess what? You have the opportunity today to build your own episodic media, right? Because we have the power of owning our own media channels, like our own learning, channels, our own video channels, our own, social channels, something like Apple or Spotify. We have the ability of building these channels and having this regular, consistent community engagement with outlets like podcasting, for example. Podcasting, in my opinion, it's really the new books, right? It's the new reading. I had a fun conversation the other day with who is now a client, but he said to me, he goes, "Hey, look, when I go to my kids' soccer games, I listen to podcasts. Now, they're murder mystery podcasts, they're sports history podcasts, so the hobbies that I have." And I asked him, I said, "Well, hey, I noticed you listen to podcasts, you go to your kids' games. Do you ever read?" He says, "No, I don't read. I have my podcasts." So it kind of dawned on me that podcasting has become the new books. Now, later in that conversation, he said, "But Tim, when I listen to a podcast, it's a murder mystery podcast. Our company, we have data management, IT infrastructure solutions. We're not going to have this mass audience tune into that." I said, "That's the point, right? The point is you're not going to have a mass audience tune in to your episodic content. You're going to have your niche audience. You're going to have your community, right? If you read less, but you consume podcasts, when your customer is making a decision, what's the likelihood that they want to read less and they want to consume a podcast on it? It's extremely high. So when you build something like a podcast or a live roundtable, this more episodic content, you really want to use your team to champion your brand, right? It's so easy to create a podcast on a weekly cadence or monthly cadence because it's all hands on deck, right? It's the idea that sometimes it's the marketing team coming on and speaking. Sometimes it's the sales team coming on and speaking. Sometimes it's the HR team coming on and speaking about culture or hiring or, training and development. Sometimes it's support teams coming on and just answering FAQs in the industry or doing troubleshooting type of content for your channels. Oftentimes it's leadership coming on. What's that huge announcement? It's the new year, right? Leadership needs to be going to market with their voice and thought leadership. Product teams need to come on and teach. And when you have a channel like a podcast, when you have a video channel, what happens is you enable all of these different, we'll call them characters, to be able to come on, share their thought leadership one time, and then what happens is it lives on forever, right? It's owned on your site. You're getting earned media from the community liking and resharing it. And you compound that time and time again. You eventually build this media empire, and you've really elevated your company, not just being one of the best products, but also one of the best educators and publishers in the space. So I want to challenge everybody. I want to excite everybody to go out and truly make it happen, right? Empower your marketing team, empower your business by running a decentralized operation. And there's many tools out there that can help you do it. Push your team, right? Push your team to be more involved in this communication and really simply use the right tools, right? You have the right tool belt to make this easy, and big things are going to happen. So that's it here for the first installment of Tim's weekly webinar. I'll come up with a better name as we keep doing it. But again, these are weekly. Invite your friends, invite your community to be a part of this. Everybody in this, we are the movers and shakers in B2B. We are the ones that realize that community is at the essence of everything that we do, whether it's our family around the table, the church that we attend, the sports team that we watch, or the businesses that we lead. So I want to thank everybody for coming in, and I cannot wait to see you next time. All righty. Cheers, everybody.